Hello universe, and welcome to this universally important video about food. One of the first things I learned about nutrition was that healthy and delicious food does not have to be complex, take a long time, or require any exotic ingredients. On the contrary, it can be cooked simply and minimally, it consists of easy to find, preferably local ingredients, and it can be easily made in under 15 minutes. Now, to demonstrate that, I am going to create 6 easy recipes for which you can freely choose most ingredients, and I'll share a few things that I've learned in between. I would like to begin with one of my absolute favorite recipes, and that is for summer rolls. They are just the easiest way to cook up all of your fruits and veggies that you have lying around if you don't want them to go bad. But once you have a few different kinds of fruits and veggies gathered up and washed, all you have to do is cut them into elongated pieces so that they fit inside the rolls, and you can use anything here. You could go for carrots, peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, and apples, or pears, or anything else that might come to your mind. It doesn't matter if it is sweet or salty. And then you want to prepare the sauce, which consists of coconut yogurt, tahini, and a little bit of soy sauce. All you have to do is put all of the ingredients together and mix them really well for about a minute. And once you're done, you're going to be left with this nice creamy substance that tastes amazing. At this point, we have just cut up a whole bunch of different fruits and veggies and piled them neatly on some plates so that people can pick and choose whatever different filling they want for their rolls on the spot. One important thing that you need to know about the rolls is that they are made with rice paper, and rice paper needs to soak in some water before you can roll it up. For that, you're just going to take a pack of rice paper. You can find these at any Asian store at all. And once you have served your summer roll materials, you're just going to want to grab a piece of rice paper and soak it in water for about a minute. It shouldn't get too soft, as it gets softer while you're waiting. So you just want to start assembling after a little while. I recommend using salad for the base of the summer roll and then putting a few key notes in there as well. For example, pear or apple. Then you want to cover everything in a few spoons of sauce and wrap your summer roll like you would with any other wrap, like a pancake or a falafel, making sure to cover up the edges so you don't make a mess, and you can just dig right into that. It is absolutely delicious and so easy. Next, I would like to share my incredibly simple recipe for oven-baked veggie rice. It has only one crucial ingredient, which is some form of oven-safe baking dish. Mine is the simple glass casserole, and once you have that, you just want to fill it up with a little bit of rice and then cover it up with some water, hot or cold. If you use hot water, it will cook a little faster. And then it's always good to put veggie broth in your water pretty much for any meal at all. So you want to do that here as well. Then turn on your oven to about 200 degrees and put the whole thing inside, and that is it. Now you want to prepare some veggies that will go with that. You could just thaw some frozen veggies and put them to the side if you feel like cutting up is too much work. Otherwise, you want to grab any soft vegetables you have in your fridge and cut them into big cubes. You don't want to be too careful about it. You could just cut up whatever comes to your mind, some onions, some mushrooms, zucchini, anything that you have, and then gather it into a big bowl and wait for about 20 to 25 minutes for your rice to get a little bit softer. Then you want to take it out and put all of the veggies inside as well and mix it up really good, covering up everything with the water at least. Then you want to put that back inside the oven and bake for another 15 to 20 minutes. After the time is up, you want to garnish the rice with any spice or sauces that you want, maybe some nuts and seeds as well, and just give it a little more taste, as well as a taste test. So if it is still a little bit hard, you can put it in the oven again for another 5 to 10 minutes, and once it is done, you can serve it into plates and eat it just like that. You can garnish the rice in a similar sauce to the summer rolls, just coconut yogurt, tahini, and soy sauce. Or maybe you can use some nut butter instead of tahini. It is important that you always put the veggies in a little later just so they retain some of their vitamins and don't get mushy. But if you're feeling extra lazy, you can mix them up from the beginning and then bake for 40 minutes. But that is everything that you need to do, and you can just enjoy. This is my ultimate healthy shopping list that you can download below for absolutely free and take with you the next time that you go to the store. You don't need everything on there, you can just pick your current favorites out of each category every time and you're set. This is probably the easiest recipe that I could come up with, but it doesn't lack anything in taste or nutrition. All that you're going to need is any type of grain, could be rice, bulgur, quinoa, pasta, anything you want. And you want to cook that according to the instructions for whatever you chose, just in some water. And then you want to get some frozen veggies. So I have some peas, some spinach, and a mix. For me, I chose bulgur as my grain. I put that to cook, and then I put the frozen veggies in a pan with a little bit of water, no oil needed. And then I made a 10-minute timer because that's literally how long it takes. Then I used some veggie broth. This is incredibly important for the taste. Put as much as you feel like according to how salty and delicious you like it. And while this is cooking, you can just serve up your plates and just keep stirring every then and again because that's literally all you need to do. And once the time has passed, you can just take out whatever grain or pasta you chose, take out all of your veggies and decide on any toppings that you might want to use for them. So I personally like to put a few bunch of different herbs. I really like garlic and oregano. And I also have this tomato sauce that I like to use with nutritional yeast because that tastes a little bit cheesy. And all you have to do is mix it up and enjoy. I don't know why, but for some reason back in the day I used to relate this frozen food to things like the frozen pizzas or french fries or burgers, and I never bought them, but I was wrong. Frozen harvest is not unhealthy and it is usually fresher than the fresh produce since it is normally flash frozen shortly after being gathered. It is processed, but it is actually not bad. So I just wanted to show you the frozen veggies that we buy. Things like peas and edamame in paper containers are great for recycling. I also like to buy Brussels sprouts and pumpkin and mixes and things like that. Spinach is very practical because it gets bad really fast if it's fresh. And in terms of fruit, I like to buy different kinds of berries that are great for smoothies and desserts. The next recipe calls for lentil sprouts, so I quickly want to show you how to make them. They are one of the healthiest snacks on the planet, require no cooking at all, and are done in 2 or 3 days with minimal effort. So you want to start by pouring some brown lentils in a jar and soaking them for about 8 hours. Then you want to come in and cover the top of the jar with a cheesecloth or a lid with holes in it and let all the water out. And then you want to leave the lentils out on your counter for about 2 or 3 days. And every 10 hours or so, you're going to come in and rinse them with water. Once your sprouts have grown out a little bit, just like this, they are safe to eat without cooking and you can use them to top off different meals. Finally, you can just store them in the fridge for up to a week. This recipe is meant to show you how easy it is to make any kind of cream or clear soup just using frozen vegetables. So you want to choose any kind of frozen veggies. I chose pumpkin and just put them to thaw in a little bit of water. And for this recipe, I also wanted to eat some bread with that. So I took some frozen bread and I put that in the oven for about 15 minutes, which is how long this recipe takes. And if you are feeling a little extra, you can cut up some onions and garlic and put them in a pan with some water to give the soup a little bit of a different taste, but you absolutely do not have to do that. What you really do need though is some veggie broth, which is a key ingredient to many of my recipes. And once the garlic and onions are done, you just want to pop them in the same pot as well. Put a little bit more water depending on how creamy you want your soup. And then you want to mix it. I use a hand mixer. It takes a little bit of time, but you can get it done under 15 minutes altogether. And at the end, you just want to put any spices like paprika, cumin, and ginger. Any details will be down below. And I topped off this soup with a bit of my lentil sprouts and the bread that I had in the oven the whole time. And it looked absolutely delicious and it was so effortless. So I just went on to serve that, and I am so in awe of how fluffy and delicious the oven baked frozen bread is. I highly recommend it, and that is all there is to it. The only thing that will be easier is to just make veggie broth with water and add frozen vegetables inside to make a clear soup, which you could eat with rice noodles or a side of toast. That would be delicious as well. This final recipe is for the most delicious and healthy sugar-free dessert ever, which is banana Nicecream. For this, you just want to cut up some bananas a day before you want to make this, and you want to put them in the freezer. Once they are thoroughly frozen, you can just pop them into a mixer or a blender. Maybe you can pre-blend them if you don't have one. And then you want to flavor them. You can do cocoa powder or matcha or anything that comes to your mind. I used matcha, and what also came to my mind was using some cocoa flakes, but you can use nuts or anything else. And you want to put a bit of liquid so your blender doesn't struggle. You can use some soy milk or water. And once you mix that up, it's going to become such a nice ice creamy texture. You want to pop that into 2 cups. And you can top that off with some frozen fruits or maybe fresh fruits if you feel like it, but I feel like frozen tastes really good, so I use those, and then it's just ready to eat right away. It tastes absolutely godlike and is so easy. I love Nicecream so much. If you leave the bananas to get extra brown, the Nicecream will taste extra sweet and very delicious. But these were all of my simple tips and recipes for now. Remember to get creative with them. You can make them in hundreds of ways, and you can use them as the foundation for your healthy minimal kitchen from now on. Please let me know what you thought down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.